All right, so good morning and welcome to BAM Education. I'm excited about this topic because it's something that I feel really passionate about. At Bricks, we don't buy leads. We try not to buy leads. We've tried buying leads and we've seen that the return is just not worth it at all. But working your sphere of influence has been proven again and again and again to be the most successful way to generate leads and generate business. On top of it, it really just gets you back in touch with people that you already knew, maybe that you had just kind of lost touch with, and it helps you build relationships as well. And in those relationships always comes goodness. I can promise that. So who is your sphere of influence? Your sphere of influence is anybody that you know. Even some people that just know you and you may not know them. Maybe they're a distant acquaintance, right? So that could be family or friends. It could be a past coworker from a previous employer or previous career. It could be someone that you met in passing at a night out with another couple, maybe.
Sorry, I'm
Okay.
trying to move.
It's no problem. Anyways, it could be, softball fields, soccer fields, any kind of school event, FFA. I'm trying to think of things that, I've maybe been around, tennis or whatever. It could be, at a horse sale, like maybe you're into that. Maybe you are an outdoorsman. Maybe you go fishing a lot and you go to a lot of different fishing competitions, or, just think outside of the box. Think about how you meet people, right? It also can be people that you meet at networking events that you have to really strongly force yourself to go to, even though you feel extremely uncomfortable. Those are the type of events where you're going to really expand your professional sphere. So don't discredit people who have, businesses or business affiliates, like maybe their family owns a business, or maybe they just have a couple friends in business somewhere. So just anybody that you can really think of that maybe will recognize you or recognize your name, or you just feel comfortable with. And then there's a possibility just to create people in your sphere as well. But that's, you got to really have a really outgoing personality for that. But so the first step of really working your sphere of influence is to know how you are feeling with them, like what's your relationship. And so that's why I say, organize your sphere of influence. So I'm a little old school / digital. I do love the digital technology and I absolutely love KB Core. But I've itemized out the steps based on how I think it would be really beneficial if you're a new agent starting. So if you are, go ask your sister. Sorry.
You know where my phone is?
It's on the dresser. Sorry, guys. Shut the door, please. All right, so if you are new, then these steps are probably going to be the easiest for you because you probably have not loaded your contacts into KB Core. If you've already loaded your contacts into KB Core, then we can adjust these a little bit and I can help you walk through KB Core and how to itemize them out and organize them. But essentially, you kind of have to imagine your whole sphere of influence and then consider putting them in buckets or in columns, or however you feel the most organized. I have a spreadsheet that you can utilize if you are an Excel person and you like spreadsheets, and you can divide people up. So the way I suggest doing it is going through your phone, because we all, can you see that? A phone. You always have your contacts in a phone. You can also get organized by pulling contacts out of an email. Maybe you're in a group email from your kids' class and there are contacts there. You don't necessarily have their phone number, but you do have their email and they are familiar. So you're not going to be spamming them, right? That's not the goal here. But get organized and get all of your ducks in a row, essentially, right? And you're going to then try to category them out, right? So the way I like to say this is if I'm going through my phone, excuse me, I'm going to start at the A's. Amanda so-and-so. Excuse me. She is a friend of mine, so she's definitely in the friend category. She has an uncle who owns a business, so I'm gonna put Amanda's uncle over in the professional category. And then I might put her phone number by it or whatever. It depends on how detailed you want your initial list, right? And then I'm just gonna make, to me, I'm just gonna make columns, or I'm gonna type them on a Word doc in columns, right? Or you can write them. I mean, however you want to organize it, right? And then you want to just go through and put everybody in a category. Maybe, and think about how you feel contacting them while you're doing that. What is your relationship with them? If you were to send an email out about a networking event, or if you were going to call a group of people about a networking event at Bricks, you know, would they fit in that friends, family, and close acquaintances group? Do you feel that kind of comfortable with them, or are they kind of like disassociated, but definitely know who you are? So kind of create groups, buckets, columns, however you feel comfortable. Everybody kind of works differently, and lay that out and just start going through your contacts and put them in those different categories. Okay. Any questions about the different categories and what I mean by just kind of allocating your clients and your contacts out? Okay, so as I said, I'm a little old school, so I still like the paper or the spreadsheet, and I like to visualize what I'm doing, right? So if you're creating a spreadsheet or a column, my next suggestion would be just decide what your method of contact is going to be with each and every person. So you could do this simultaneously while you're putting them in their, you know, category, right? And maybe you create like a little bit of a key, like a yellow highlighter means phone call, orange highlight means email, pink means text message, and then green, what did I miss? Maybe personal note, right? So whatever that is, you create like a little system. And then as you're categorizing them out, you're itemizing out how you feel comfortable with them. Now you could choose to only categorize them out by email, text, or personal note. And that's, but the way I see it is you're always going to evolve that relationship. So you may only feel comfortable now emailing them, but then in the end, you may grow that relationship that you're only picking up the phone call. You know, that's that they're calling you or you're calling them with that relationship. So, you know, however you want to do it, remember these steps are just to implement them into KV Core, right? So really you're just kind of getting organized still, right? So you're deciding your method of contact. And when you think about the person that is on your list that you're talking about or that you're on, you know, for me and Mindy, and even Angie, you know, we go really far back to like middle school, but our relationship wasn't always as familiar as it is now. I mean, there were some younger years as younger parents where maybe we were just kind of like messaged each other through Facebook. We knew we cared about each other enough to stay in contact, but it wasn't the whole pick up the phone type of thing. So, and then over the years, it definitely developed. So think about the person and how you feel comfortable, because when you work your sphere of influence, you know, our goal is to make sure that you're building that relationship. And to do that, you have to be genuine. We're going to provide you with some scripts and some help to get you that point, but the scripts aren't intended to be personalized. So, you know, we might say, you know, here, use this for your emails, but remember who you're emailing. Remember to be personable, because the first thing I do when there's a scripted email is I junk it. I don't even look at it. So that's not the goal, right? So when I say decide method of contact, that's exactly what I mean. Decide, and then use some sort of color coordinated system if that works for you visually, like it works for me, to go through and itemize them out, right? So I'm going to skip down to the add to KV Core. I know it says scripts and make contact and everything. If you have done these steps, then at this point, when you decide you're going to make contact with them, right, I would suggest you're going to need to make contact. If you're a new agent and you don't got nothing going on, you should be reaching out to 20 plus people a week. There's no reason you can't, because remember, you're not calling all these people. Some of them you might be sending a handwritten note from a group of cards that you got from, you know, Walgreens for $9.99. There was 100 of them. You know what I'm saying? And you're just writing a little handwritten note that says with your business card in it that was like, you know, whatever your script is or whatever your words are. Some of them you're going to pick up the phone and they're not even going to answer. So you're going to leave a brief voicemail and return back to it a little bit later. So essentially 20 people is not that hard. Even 25, 5 a day. But if you imagine that you are going to make that many point of contacts or more, the odds, I mean, I would have to say you're at a 50% odd of at least creating a relationship with someone who's going to introduce you to somebody that can generate a lead. Vicki, what do you think the odds are? I'm calling you out.
Odds are definitely going to be better than they would be if you didn't do anything. So, I mean, you have the choice to reach out and you have the choice not to reach out. And I mean, if you reach out to 50 people and you get one lead, it's better than reaching out to nobody and getting none. You know, it's that whole theory of, you know, a little bit of something's a whole lot better than, you know, nothing. So yeah. To me, I think that's very important. And as far as the cards go, you know, I was in, what is it called? The Dollar Tree, the $1.25 tree, whatever the heck it is now. And you can get really nice cards in there for almost nothing. I will tell you, it's going to be good money spent, really good money spent. I have cards that I keep in my office. They're very blank and very generic. You write your own thing in there. So if you ever are here and you're like, man, I think I need to send out 5 or 10 cards and you don't have them on you, there's no excuse because I keep them in my office all the time. If I go into, you know, anywhere, Target or TJ Maxx or somewhere like that, and they have a cute little box of cards, I grab them. I have cards at home. I have cards here. I'm not as good at doing it as I used to be. But I will tell you, I used to do it, you know, and in my business plan, when you look at my personal business plan, it has, I think it's 10 cards a week that I send out. 5 cards a week is better than none. But as a new agent, yeah, kind of no excuses. And even doing, you know, do kind of a generic email even to family, you know, that you can kind of tag some family in or, but the biggest thing is face-to-face. Danielle knows I'm old school. Everything's got to be face-to-face. Everybody's doing social media. Everybody's doing mail outs. Everybody's doing postcards. Not everybody's doing face-to-face because that takes the most effort.
And time.
And when they see you doing face and time, and when they see that you're, you know, they're worth your time, they've got you. Everybody knows 10 or 15 realtors, but not all of those realtors are getting face-to-face with them.
And get out of your negative thoughts about, well, I haven't reached out to them in a little bit, so they know I'm only asking them to coffee because I have an agenda. That's okay. You do have an agenda. Let them know that. I'm sorry, I've been a crappy friend and I haven't reached out. I'm ready to make up for it. And in that conversation, you can talk about things, but don't let people or other negative thoughts fill your brain about like, I can't post this, I can't write that, I can't make that call, because the person's gonna think, I mean, if you let people control your income like that, then you're in the wrong industry, right? So
right. I want to step back a little bit to what you were talking about, the networking. The CEP is holding the Networking 101 on August 8th. Everybody's been to that that's been here for any length of time. Danielle and I have attended it multiple times. I have 4, I signed up Colby, Kyle, Mindy, and Liz. So any of you other new realtors that want to do that, shoot me an email. I will sign you up. I mean, you know, to go with people that you know, it makes it nice. But it is, what is it? It's usually around lunchtime. I don't remember the exact times. I can find that out for you. But it is August 8th, and it is going to be the best time you've spent. I'm telling you, you get outside your comfort zone, you're going to make money.
It's 11:30 to 1, and 100%, all of you, all the new agents, all the agents who are in their emotions about, I can't do this sphere of influence and networking, go to the class. It's complimentary because Bricks is a part of the chamber, so you might as well take advantage of the seat. They do provide like some sort of lunch while you're there, and they have these I don't know what their roles are at the CEP, but what they do is they conduct a class and they talk to you about, like, when you show up to a networking event, how do you prepare, right? And then also, like, when you get there and you're socializing and networking, what are your goals? Like, how to itemize that out and think of it as a business plan in that evening or in that event. And then they give you the tools about like making sure you're open to new introductions and how to show up to an event with two of you and be able to feed off of each other. Lots of great tools. And I promise you that you will walk away feeling 100% better about working with sphere of influence and networking.
Right. And one of the speakers is Angie Umbleby, who is a realtor and has walked in your shoes. So just know that it's not just somebody in a different business that doesn't really apply. It totally applies. So she is one of the speakers that's there, and she's a realtor, and she started right where you started.
Yeah, thank you for putting that in there. Okay, so the point is to get into your contacts and start deciding your method of contact with them. And the way I would see it is, like I said, if you haven't imported a bulk load of your KV Core contacts, then maybe this is the time that as you're going through your spreadsheet or your columns of a notepad or whatever it is that you've organized your contacts, right? And you decide that you're going to make that contact. I'm going to write that note card. Well, input that person into KV Core, categorize them in the way that you feel, like with your hashtags or whatever, and then make the contact, right? So now you've inputted it in there. And when you've made the contact, maybe you need to remind yourself by adding a task in KV Core to follow up in 2 weeks, right? So that's when your CRM becomes what they call an LRM. So it's a lead retention management company instead of just a client retention management company. That's a new thing that I've learned, but basically KV Core can do all of that for you. And if you're not going to utilize that, I promise you're going to struggle a lot more getting started. So if you need tips on inputting one-on-one, then just call me, and then we can do a one-on-one Zoom, or someone in the office there can show you how to do that. But when you're talking to people, like, you're going to want to already kind of played out when you talk to people, when you meet them in person, a semi-elevator speech, a script of some sort. The biggest thing is don't be afraid to actually ask. I have learned so many times in the wrong way that you will leave opportunities on the table if you don't ask. One of my closest friends who has multiple properties listed with someone else because I didn't ask. She knew I was in real estate. She knew I was doing well in real estate, but for whatever reason, I guess maybe she thought that I didn't want their business. So don't be afraid to actually ask. And that ask can come in many different ways. It can be something like, hey, can you think of anybody that's experiencing life changes right now? Can you think of anybody who's going through a divorce, or maybe getting married, or having a new baby? Because they might be great points of contact for me, and I would love an introduction, right? You're not asking these people to sell you to somebody, and you're not asking them to give you a list of names, like, those people that are, when they come to your door, the door-to-door salespeople, and they're like, can you think of 5 people that would be interested in this product? No, that's not what you're asking them for, right? You're asking them for genuine, connections. Like, can you think of anybody? And maybe they can't give it to you right now, but you plant that seed. Like, can you, in your daily activities, if you think of somebody, could you then, make a connection for me? I'd love to be able to talk to them about what I can offer in real estate and things like that. So when I say come up with a script or an elevator speech, you really kind of have to decide what your approach is, right? And if you need help with that, that's what we're here to help you with too. The big thing about it is when you're scripting yourself, or you're coming up with what you want to say, you want to practice it in the mirror, and you want to practice it in the car, and you want to say it to yourself or to your husband, or pick up the phone and call me and pretend that we're doing a call. whatever it is, just practice it so that when it comes out of your mouth, because I can think it all day long, I can think up probably the best conversation and play it out, and the person responded the way that I think that they should respond. But then when I actually try to say it, it's a complete shit show. Like, it's all over the place. I'm stumbling across my words. So play it out a little bit, practice it, it's just good practice to be able to be familiar with what and confident in what you're saying. Anybody have any comments, questions about kind of where we're at? We're kind of at an end. I don't want to keep beating, any information that's already been said, but I just have any questions on, like where you might be struggling or what your fears are when it comes to working with your sphere of influence.
Okay, so I have some input.
Perfect.
I want to know kind of like where everybody's starting. So, I mean, I get the question all the time. So like, where do I start? I don't even know, how do I do that? Where do I start? So I just want everybody to pick one of the methods that Danielle talked about today and just do it today. Pick up the phone, call somebody today that you haven't talked with, pick up the phone or call and have lunch with, invite them over, something like that. I think if everyone does that and you start doing that, Georgia, I think you probably have like a lot of contacts that you had previously. And you probably are kind of like I was. Like, I got really busy with the brokerage. We opened in 2017. I almost completely stopped sending out letters, sending out my emails, doing all the things that I should have been doing for like three years. When COVID hit and nobody was doing anything, I didn't have anything much to do, I started sending these emails out because I thought, you know what? I haven't talked to them in 3 years. They're either going to read it or not. It's one of those things. I will tell you, I got such good response that I immediately was getting leads, immediately. And it was people, even past clients that I hadn't followed up with in 3 years or 4 years. People I had sold properties to that I was sending out, like postcards or recipe cards, or that were on my past client list that I'm really emailing and doing things with and making my phone calls and my text messages and stuff. Not so much text messages then, believe it or not, just 5 years is a big difference. But I think if you kind of just get that email going out there, and my thing was, hey, I know a lot of people have been touched by COVID and I haven't been able to, connect with anybody recently, just checking on you and your family. So I think if you kind of just go with your past list and say, and you may have already done this. I mean, you're not new at this at all. It's just, I know that, we've been in this a long time and we've seen a lot of different ways people have reached out to leads and generated leads and a lot of things. But I think just sending out an email, and just saying, hey, just checking on you guys, seeing how you're doing. You may get a response and you may not.
One of the things I found going back through my old contacts, calling them old because I hadn't reached out in so long, was that I did not have complete information. So that's a good icebreaker also, to give them a call and say, hey, I just want to update your information in my, in my contact list, because I think I've got some stuff wrong. And I did that.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And it helped.
Perfect.
It helped break the ice, and it helped get, my contact list up there.
That's a brilliant idea. I love that. That's great. That's a great way to break the ice. So perfect. Love that. Just kind of wanted to throw that out there, that, just pick a method and start on it today. And if you do one today, that's better than none.
Thanks,
Danielle, you did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Jump off the bridge. I mean, essentially, like everybody says, take the leap, right? So jump off, do it, get it out of the way, get your nervousness out of the way. If it's me, I'm going to pick the person that I'm least likely to embarrass myself with. And if I do embarrass myself, I could care less, right? Make that your first point of contact if you're really, really that nervous. And I know that there are some of you that are that nervous, and that's okay. But if you just, I don't want you to pick someone that's not like a legit contact. I don't mean to say play it out like that, but, if you're worried about, impressions and things like that, then, practice on someone at the office, but the biggest thing is just do it, because you can sit and prepare and create columns and organize it in a spreadsheet and all of those things and highlight them off and then add them to KV Core. And you can spend 3 weeks doing that, but you could be 3 weeks into working a contract also. And for those, we don't talk about money a lot at Bricks. That's not what we try not to make that what drives us, but we all put time into it. Time is money. And if you think about the average real estate transaction and what you could earn to support your family or your lifestyle, then it's very motivating to pick up the phone and make an appointment to see somebody and just get out there, because I really think that it goes a lot further when you do. Any comments from some of the newer agents or questions from some of the newer agents? I know you guys are in Ocala, but I can't really hear you if you're talking.
No, we're on. Well, I need to upload my contacts to KV Core. Phone numbers, I have so many phone numbers, but not saying that text is like ingenuine. I'm still gonna reach out, but I think the handwritten note thing does go a long way. What should we do in terms of the handwritten notes, like getting those addresses, or just like kind of like Georgia said, just can I update your contact list and get those addresses? Because I mean, I need to put in, I guess what I can do is go into the Excel, and then that's how I upload them to KV Core. Phone numbers, all of them are not really in the Ocala area, so I would be reaching out to, other counties and stuff like that, or states, but I think
your text looks something like, hey, I know it's been a little bit. I was thinking I wanted to send you something. Can I get your mailing address? Something very off the cuff, personal, but not super scripted. However you would normally say hello to that person, and then, you can personalize the note from there. Does that make sense? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, and then as far as putting them into buckets, like, would it be how close you are to that person? Like, oh, they're an acquaintance from this, or they're a good friend through this, or you would be like, these are my softball moms, these are my husband's, business friends, or whatever like that?
Yes, essentially. I mean, I kind of like mine to be friends, family, and then, I put, acquaintances, and then I'll put professional. Because, the professionals, they're not just for people who have businesses, but also for all your vendors that you're going to start meeting and collecting information on. So there's that. But yes, you can kind of decide how you want that to look, because once you get them into KV Core, you're going to create, if you've been through the agent training, it's the hashtags, right? So everybody gets hashtags. You can put multiple hashtags on someone. So someone could be a buyer, hashtag seller, hashtag email, hashtag text. It could be hashtag friend. You could put all those hashtags. The reason why you're creating these different methods or categories for them inside KV Core is because when you go to your CRM and you have all your contacts there, and you're like, you know what? All the people that I think I'm comfortable emailing, I'm going to email them that we have this big event in Denellen, and I want them to know, right? And maybe you're like, oh, that's not the category of people I want. I want all my friends and family to know. So what you do is you search hashtag friends, hashtag family up at the top, and everybody who has that hashtag is there. And then you hit select all, generate email, and then there you go, right? And it inputs their name, and then you type the email that you want or the text that you want. Or at least if it's a phone call and you want to like go through a group of people and make phone calls, you hashtag, search the hashtag, the category, or the method of contact that you're looking for. And then you have a list of people that you're just going to sit and dial and call and make contact with. So that's why I say it's so important to kind of get organized and know like what your methods are. And it's going to look different for everybody. So that's why I'm not kind of itemizing out like these are the standard ones, or this is what you have to do. It could be, your South Florida group and your Ocala, Florida group, and people from New York. And then inside those, those are like your initial hashtag, but then each person has a different method of contact that you feel comfortable with, right? Not all of the people from New York are you, maybe you are, I don't know, but you know, everybody's relationship is different. So you can, you know, hashtag email, hashtag phone call, whatever, hashtag has money, whatever. I mean, you can, you know, whale of a client, millionaire. I mean, you can create all the hashtags you want. Nobody sees them but you and your broker, obviously, if she was to look for it. But does that help at all, Liz? Okay.
As far as getting addresses and that, if you have the phone number, because that's what I didn't have any address, real addresses. I had their, you know, phone number or email. But as far as getting their addresses, that's where the phone call or the email comes in. And it's as simple as saying, hey, I'm updating my Christmas card list and I saw I didn't have your address.
That's
You know,
perfect.
something simple like that. So
That is great. That was a really great tip, Georgia. Thank you. I didn't even really think about that. But it takes the uncomfortable out of it because it's reasonable for you to do that.
right.
Yeah. So is Kyle in there? Is that who I see in the back? Hi. So I'm going to pick on you a minute. Are you ready for this? Sure. Okay. So I know you're working property management and you're probably thinking that you don't really have to do all of this stuff because, you know, you're already busy enough with property management and you don't have time. But remember that you can, if you're not able to work a lead, you can refer them out. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Yes. And make money off of it that way. So let's say, you know, you reach out to some past contacts from your youth or friends and family. You know, obviously there's quite a bit of overlap on the friends and family connection, but you know, you reach out to your people, let them know I'm still working, you know, as a lineman, but I'm also, you know, in, you know, real estate now, I'm doing all these things, however you want to say it. And, you know, just want to let you guys know that I can assist you if something comes up, and I'd be happy to. And I, you know, love the opportunity to put my team on it, right? You kind of just put a little spin on it. And that way, whenever you get the call, if you're ready to work the lead, then you can work it. And if you're not, then you say, hey, I got a lot on my plate right now. I appreciate that you called or reached out. I definitely want to help you. Is there any chance that I can, you know, have my teammate come on and they're going to help us get everything taken care of? I just want to make sure I don't overlook anything or whatever. So I just wanted to put that in your ear, Kyle, because I know you have a lot of great contacts, and I know David in the office has a really hard time doing this. I don't know if it's a male thing. Is it a male thing, Kyle? Reaching out to people like that?
Probably. It's a little tougher for us to communicate.
Well, I mean, it's just an idea. Maybe you have a barbecue and invite your buddies over or something and introduce it to them that way. I don't know. I mean, you can get creative. I just want you just to not overlook the opportunity that you have. Being licensed and working in property management is great. It's, you know, it's definitely good to zero in on what you're doing, but don't forget that your license can bring other avenues of money as well, and income in, and opportunities. You never know where that leads. Maybe that lead comes in and not only can you buy the property for them, but you can throw it in the property management as well. So lots of friends and people that you don't even think about. That's the other part. When you think you know somebody, but you don't. When you think that they wouldn't really be into making an investment into like a duplex or a single family home that they want to lease out, you'd be surprised. You know, not everybody puts their checkbook on the table for all to see. So, you know, just make sure you give them the opportunity to reach out and know that what you're doing is different. And that's kind of what I want to imply to Liz and Mindy too. When you guys are working your sphere, it's a great way to make that introduction. Like, I'm reaching out now because, I mean, Mindy, just point blank, this is what I did because you're doing exactly what I did, right? I'm reaching out now because I'm not a stay-at-home mom anymore, right? I'm not a softball coach anymore. And I just want everybody to know that this is what I'm doing that's different. And the same for you, Liz. You know, you want them to know that you're doing something different. And, you know, that you would like their
To
support.
upload your Apple or your Android, I guess, contacts to something, or just get them all. That's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Say that again?
Instead of going through every single contact and writing down the name, like I'm sure there's got to be a simpler way of uploading all the contacts to Google Gmail or something, just to like.
You probably could. I'm not super techie with that. So yes, you're right. You're right. You could probably go through and upload it to like the CSV file from your phone or whatever. You should be able to maybe throw that into a spreadsheet and organize it that way. All I'm saying is that the most overwhelming thing is to have 800 contacts in KV Core and not know what the hell to do with them. Not know how to send emails because you don't know who's going to get what email, and you don't want to send a double email to somebody because you don't know if they're a duplicate contact. So whatever that organization looks like to you, whether it's starting it on paper, adding it to KV Core later, or bulk adding and then going through one person at a time, clicking on it, adding the hashtags and creating the task, that's fine. I'm going to tell you, Angie and I and Vicky have done it that way because we thought we had our ducks in a row, and it's not easy. It's overwhelming. So if you haven't added them to KV Core, maybe it's something as simple as you go through your phone and you only select the ones that you want to go in this category. Maybe there's a techie way. I'm just not the techie person to tell you that. I'm sorry. Maybe David.
Where do you put the hashtags? Is there like a notes field or something in there?
Yeah, when you hit add contact here, let me see if I can bring my KV Core up really quick and then just share the screen. So give me 1 second to try and coordinate that because it'll be easier just to show you. KV Core. All right, I'm gonna share my screen here. All right, so what can you guys see?
Your login.
Okay, I'm just making sure that you're only seeing that screen. All right. All right, so this is, my KV Core. You have quick actions. You have quick actions up here. And when you go to add a contact, so if it was me and, I'm doing this in the slow way and I'm working 20 to 40 contacts, I mean, if you don't have a lot going on, it's not super hard to sit and hit add contacts, add their information. You want to put that, yes, you can call them, yes, you can text them, and yes, you can email them, because if you can't do those things, then I don't know why they're in here. You can select lead type. And to be honest, I would recommend putting everybody in the buyer or seller category because they're all going to be potentially a buyer or seller. So let's say you decide something changed with the market and you want to implement like a huge, hey, buyers, you never know, the interest rates have plummeted, buy now. Like that means you want to tell everybody, right? So mark them as a buyer. Your lead status, this is just, like, are they your sphere of influence? Are they a true prospect? Like, have they implied that there is something that may be coming up? Are they an actual lead? Is it something that you're working right now? I'm looking over here because my screen's all twisted. Current client, are you under contract with them? Or, where are you with that relationship is what lead status means. It's always going to be a manual ad, and you always want to come down on the drop down for lead owner and put yourself. Now, when it comes to smart campaigns, I don't put anything. The reason why is because the smart campaigns are templated emails or steps that I have had not the first amount of time to go through. And I don't want people getting emails and texts from my KV Core and spamming them if I don't know what it's saying. So I don't mark that. Once I get up to the point where I can do that, then maybe. Here is where you can add your hashtags. You see it? It says you can add hashtags here. So essentially you could put buyer, hashtag seller, hashtag millionaire, hashtag networking, like let's say you think you might be interested in, and you can update this at any point in time, right? You could put softball. I mean, you can all of it, right? So let's say we're there and we've already had add contact and everything, right? So yes, you're gonna say yes, that you wanna like save them. Oh, hold on. You're gonna get through it and save the contact, right? Well, when you go over here under all contacts, see right here, so hold on, mine's gonna generate my contacts. It's a little slow because there's a lot. So I pulled my contacts from my phone and my Gmail, which inadvertently duplicated some people because my phone didn't have people's emails in there. So when KV Core got the email and it was an email without a phone number or an actual legit contact created, it just put their email in there without any name. So now that's why I have to go back through. And I mean, and obviously Remax Realty, it was one of my contacts in my phone and it's added it. So I have to go back through still. I'm working through the letters on that. But here's what I'm trying to get to. So I have been trying to recruit for bricks and mortar, right, in Lakeland. So I got a list of people that were able to pass their state exam. They applied to pass their state exam. So I got these lists, right? So I call them recruits. Hashtag recruit one. So different lists that I created. So if I hit hashtag recruit at the top, recruit, finish typing. And then I hit search. It brings up all of them. And if you see underneath the name, it says recruit. And it says they're a prospect. I listed them as agent recruits, right? Because that's what I'm recruiting them for. And here it is. So whenever I want to make a massive, reach out, I just click here. And, I do a mass text. A lot of times I do not do 75 of the contacts you selected are archived on the do not call list or unsubscribed and opted out. That sounds wrong. But I will tell you up here is where it will tell you if someone has received a text from you before and they hit stop. And I'm going to show you where that's at. Then they won't get any more. And you can see I've sent 3 texts to this person, or maybe they communicated back on one of them. So some of these people may have opted out. That's fine. So I might want to send a mass email instead because they didn't opt out of that, right? So that's how you do it. It says 75 contacts. You can select a template if you're familiar with what the template says. So if you click it right here, it brings it up. And then you can adjust it all that you want. So, but I don't like setting them up on campaigns. The campaign will automatically send. So I don't mind using the templates like a post call email, or let's see, cheaper than renting. I don't know, with the combination of dramatically. So then you could just put like, hey, hello, how are you? And then when you were setting up your KV Core, you were supposed to go through the steps to set up your signature. If you've already done that, then you include your signature on your email. If you haven't, then obviously you're going to type that in the email up here. Does that make sense? Have I made progress or helped you at all with that information? Yes. Okay. And I can do this with you guys one-on-one because I know I go through it fast when I'm on the classes, but anytime, if you're like, I need some one-on-one help, I'm going to tell you what I did when I went through my 8 KV Core is outside of just the initial setup. Is I would watch the videos, and when they would talk about doing mass emails and stuff like that, I would pause it and go do a pretend on, and come through these steps and get a little familiar with it. So because I am a doer learner, if that makes sense, I'm not sure that's the proper terminology, but I have to practice it to be able to remember it. So I can't just watch video after video after video and not remember it. So any questions about KV Core, about your sphere of influence, or anything else that I can bring up? It scared me for this class. All right. Well, I appreciate those that attended and thank you for your input, and reach out to me always, anytime. I can help you with anything real estate related, and I'd be happy to help.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Y'all
you,
have a great
Danielle.
day. Thank you. See you guys
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye.